Welcome back, guys. It is thrift flip time. Spooky season is upon us, so we have a Halloween themed one for you today. Let's go ahead and get started. In today's video, I have several items that I have flipped for you that I hope that you enjoy that are all kind of inspired by Halloween. So let's start in with number one. Here we have this Halloween sign that I picked up that I thought was really cute, but I'm not quite understanding the star. So after removing all of the tags, we're going to start in with some paint. I'm just going to be using some chalk paint today, and I'm going to use the color ink, which is just the black chalk paint from Waverly, and I'm going to paint the entire background to give it an update and take away that kind of dullness that it has and cover any imperfections. And then I'm also going to go right over that yellow star. It doesn't quite make sense to me why it's here, so we're going to change it up and turn it into a spider web. I'm going to paint the front. I'm also going to go ahead and hit the back. It's kind of beat up and it needs to be refreshed as well. So I'm going to finish that up and then use my heat gun to go ahead and help that paint dry. I don't know about you guys, but I don't have time to sit around for paint to dry. Once that's ready, I'm going to go in with the pumpkin orange, also from Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to hit this pumpkin. I just wanted to change that color a little bit and then let that dry. Once it's done, I'm going to come back in with kind of a little mixture of paint to darken up some of the creases in that pumpkin, including the sides and all of the creases around the face. I'm going to take some of the other just plain orange and go back over it a little bit to blend it out so that's not too overwhelming, but this is just going to give it some dimension and again freshen it up. And then from there I'm going to use some of that black Waverly and do the eyes and the mouth on the pumpkin again. However, I did mix in just a little bit of white just to soften it slightly. As that's drying, I'm going to be just taking a little bit of the Waverly antiquing wax that is mixed down with water and brushing that onto the metal leaf. I like it just the way it is, but I did want to dull it out just a little. I'm not really loving the contrast from the green and the brownish part around the edges. So I think this will help bring those two things together. Now that those are dry, I'm going to pull out the white chalk paint and go ahead and paint in that word eek and start painting my my spider web. I'm just going to take a nice detailed brush and do my best to get down in the crevices of the word and then make those nice thin lines throughout the spider web. I'm just going to make a straight line all the way around, and then I'm going to use the little curved lines to connect the entire thing. And anywhere where I feel like I might have a blemish, I'm going to just use the black ink to cover back up. Now that the spider web is done, we can add some embellishments. I have a cute little broomstick that I picked up sometime in the past, and it happens to already have a cute little shimmery spider on it. So we're going to use that for the spider web. We're going to remove this brown sticks that's coming out from underneath the pumpkin so that I can fit this broom handle down into it. And then I'm also going to be adding a little stem to the pumpkin. So let's start with the witch's broom. I'm going to use some Waverly antiquing wax on that as well so that I can change the color of that broom handle to match kind of with the color of the leaf and bring it all together. And I'm just going to be hot gluing this down into place. I'm also going to be hot gluing the spider into place. And then I went outside and found a stick in my yard, and I'm just going to cut that down to size to where I want it, and then also antique waxing that so that it matches, but also to kind of seal it in since it is just a raw stick from my yard. I'm going to use some hot glue to put all of this down into place to get it where I want it, and then I'm going to come back in with my STARBOND glue to make sure that it's nice and secure and not going to go anywhere for the long haul. I need to seal this all up, so I'm just going to use some dishwasher safe Mod Podge. That way it does cure and will become waterproof if somebody does hang this on their front door. But if not, it will be just fine to work for indoor as well. This first project is done. I think it turned out really cute. I knew this sign had potential, but it was just a little confusing to me at first. So I would love to know what you think about it in the comments below. Next, we are working on this cute little pocket tin that says Happy Halloween with a little witch on the front. This is like a metal tin that has a cutout on it. So it's a little difficult to read the words. And then the witch, you can't see her unless she's painted, but I do not like the paint job that's done on this. So I'm going to start by just changing up the entire color. It has this weird kind of brown look to it. I'm going to take my black chalk paint and I'm going to paint the entire tin, including the handle, just to give it a nice crisp black finish to it. And then I'm going to let that dry. From there, I'm wanting to really spice up the front of this, so I'm going to paint a giant moon on the front. I'm going to use some white, some orange, and some golden yellow. Dip my brush in all three and just start spinning in a circle. And I'm just going to keep going and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, keeping that circle shape. And as I get to the outside, letting that paint kind of fade away to give it kind of like a light halo. So I'm just going to do this until I'm content, continuously dipping my brush in all three colors and letting the brush do the work in mixing those colors together, but not making them muddy or one solid color. The trick to this is to make sure that you can see each individual color, but that they look cohesive. Once I'm done with that, I am ready to start painting my witch. I'm just going to use some different colors here. On this project, I'm using both chalk paint and acrylic paint. I'm using what's available. And I'm going to paint her hat and her dress black. And then I'm going to paint her cloak purple and give her hat a nice cute purple strap. And then I'm going to mix up a color for her skin. I wanted her to kind of have a greenish tone. And so I'm just using this tan color and some green and a little bit of orange and just kind of mixing that up until I get the color that I want, going more towards the green tone, playing into the green witch face that you see a lot during Halloween. So I'm just going to paint her up, get her ready to go. And I also did do the broom on the back. I was able to just use some of the antiquing wax and brush that on to give it kind of that like bristled look. And I'm going to let that dry. The Happy Halloween, I think, pops enough from the moon being back there that I am very happy with this paint job. I'm going to go ahead and take it outside and seal it with some clear spray paint. I like to use the Rust-Oleum 2X. It's a primer and a sealant all in one. So I'm just going to do that, hit that all over, and then add some florals, and this piece is done as well. Next, I'm going to pick up a couple pieces of scrap wood that I have just in my scrap pile. But if you're not like me and don't have a hoard of wood just laying around, you can pick up similar sizes of this from the Dollar Tree. I like to pick my wood up from hardware stores because you get a lot more for your money and more bang for your buck. But if you're not comfortable with that, don't have a place to store, and don't have a saw to cut things down, going in picking up just individual little pieces works just fine. So I'm just going to take these and make some miniature mummies. I have done this before in a video and I did a porch leaner, but I'm just going to make some individual shelf sitters this time. So all I'm going to do is paint up this wood. I'm going to go with more of an off-white rather than a completely stark white. And I'm just going to paint the entire board, front, back, sides, bottom, top, all of it, and then hit that with my heat gun to let it dry. And then I'm just going to pull out some other paint and paint on the eyes. I'm not going to worry about a full face because we're going to wrap them up. So for the one, I'm going to put in some big green eyes. And then for another one, I want to make her a female, and I'm just going to do the cute little happy lash eyes. And then I'm going to come back in with some clear wax, add a little bit of white paint to it to make it a bright white wax. And I'm going to seal the chalk paint in with that, but also going heavier and lighter in some areas so that that white also pops off. So you'll have a nice distinction between the off-white and the white, giving it kind of an aged look. I did go over the eye and it smeared a little, so I had to go back and touch that up a bit. So if you wanted to do this before your eyes, you can. Just be a little more patient than me and you won't have this issue. For the fabric, you can choose whatever you have. I'm going to use a tea towel
and rip it into strips. And then I'm also going to use some lace that I have laying around in my hoard of crafts. So I'm going to rip this tea towel into strips. I'm just going to kind of play around with how I want it to wrap. And when I find a pattern I kind of like, I'm going to go in with my glue gun and start with gluing the edge that I start with, and then wrap it around slowly, gluing it every now and then as I go so that it does not unravel, or if one part of the glue comes undone, the entire thing won't unravel. This will also just help keep it in place whenever you get a nice layout that you like, because you want to make sure you're taking the fabric and like crossing it over itself. You don't want it to all be wrapped the same direction. You want to just cross it over, go straight sometimes, up, down, sideways, just to give it a more like purposeful but messy look. I'm going to do the exact same thing with my female mummy, and I'm going to use the fancy lace and do the same thing, just hot glue it as I go, as I wrap it around. With this, I did need to lay it out a little better beforehand because it's a little more bulky and would look kind of funny if I didn't do that. And then I also have a thinner, smaller piece that I'm going to add just for a little further embellishment. Once I'm done with that, I decided to add a cute little bow to her. So I have this burnt orange burlap. I'm just going to cut off a small piece, pull one of the strings, tie it in the middle, and glue that down just to give her a little extra. I think these turned out so cute. I'm going to make up several different versions of this to put in my booth, and I am so excited about these. So let me know what you think about them in the comments below. Next, we're going to work on this cute little unicorn, and by cute, I mean so much potential, but looking a little off right now. I think he's going to be adorable. When I picked him up, I wanted to make him magical, so I am going to be using some kind of spooky, witchy vibes on him to make him, I don't know, just a little more Halloween appropriate. So I'm going to start and just go in with some of that black chalk paint, and I'm going to paint his entire body. From there, I ended up doing 2 coats just to make sure everything was covered and good. And then from there, I'm going to paint his mane. I'm going to use just a mixture that I did of a gray and do that all over, covering everything nice and well. And then I'm going to come back in with some some sparkly shimmery paint. I'm using the color shift paints, and I'm just going to come back in and randomly hit his mane with many of the different colors to make him a sparkly boy. And so I'm going to do that on his mane all over, and then on the purple, I'm going to use that one to make his horn nice and shimmery and beautiful. And then I am also going to take that purple, another purple, like a sparkly purple, and then do another coat on top just to freshen it up slightly, make it a little more shiny, a little more even coverage, because these color shifts are very thick and sometimes don't spread well, especially because mine are older. From there, I'm going to let all of that dry. I'm going to come in and start painting his hooves and his little nose with just a plain white. And then I'm going to come back through and give him some glittery hooves and a little glittery nose because he needs to sparkle. I feel like his name should be Midnight. That's the vibe he's giving me. From there, all that I have left to do is to paint his eyes, and I'm going to share that same purple from his horn, and I'm going to just paint them up so that they shimmer and they shine and they have that kind of spooky witch vibe to them. At least that's what it's giving me. Let me know what you think about him. I am going to seal this all up with some of the same gloss 2X Rust-Oleum Clear that I used on the tin bucket not too long ago, and just make him nice and shimmery. Let me know what you think his name should be. I'm really leaning towards Midnight, but would love to hear your suggestions. Last but not least, I fell into the thrift picture ghost trend, and if you haven't seen it, it's so amazing. I did not film me painting up this picture, but I will tell you, I went and picked up a picture for myself and my friend who happens to have autism, and she is such a good artist that we did these pictures together. So what we did was we went to the thrift store, picked out pictures, took them apart, painted up the frames, made them look nice, painted the mat, really did it up, and then we took the pictures and we painted them into a Halloween theme. So we took the people in the pictures, turned them into ghosts. We added pumpkins. I painted a tiny little skeleton, added a little bit of green smoke in the distance, some bats. Just kind of really did it up. If you want to see a video of this kind of in the process, I would love to do another one for you. So I'm just showing you here the transition of both mine and hers. I am obsessed with how this turned out, and I really do want to do another one, so you might get that video regardless. Please let me know what you think about these in the comments below, and let me know which one was your favorite.
I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Give me a thumbs up if you like this type of content. Let me know in the comments below which item was your favorite and which one are you going to give a try. Consider subscribing to my channel. I love to have you here with me on this crafting journey. We do all kinds of stuff here, and I would love to have you join and be a part of our little community. Consider joining my Facebook page as well if you want to share any of your projects with me. It's in the description below. I'm going to take you in for a closer look, and I'll see you next time.